Behind the scenes, Elon Musk's son X shared powerful words about Jesus, piercing Kanye West's heart, sparking an emotional reaction neither expected in that quiet room. X's voice was calm, but carried the weight of personal faith, telling Kanye how Jesus transformed his life from emptiness into hope and purpose. Kanye listened intently as the room's atmosphere changed. These weren't casual words, but a deep, personal testimony shaking his soul to its core. The conversation wasn't about fame or fortune, but about brokenness and redemption, which struck Kanye in a way he hadn't felt for years. Tears filled Kanye's eyes, not from weakness, but from the undeniable truth in X's words that touched wounds he'd long hidden. That night, two worlds collided, one of celebrity, one of sincere faith, and a silent moment of grace bridged them together unexpectedly. Kanye felt a stirring inside him, a soft whisper of hope that had been drowned out by years of struggle and doubt. X's testimony wasn't a sermon. It was an honest sharing of God's love that moved Kanye beyond skepticism to quiet reflection. In that backstage room, the harsh lights of fame dimmed as genuine faith revealed a path Kanye never thought he'd consider again. This encounter would become a turning point, a seed of grace planted in Kanye's heart, forever changing his view of Jesus and himself. Before we continue, we'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments below, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. After their emotional conversation, Kanye and X found an unexpected bond forming, a connection rooted not in fame, but in shared vulnerability and faith. Kanye's usual guarded demeanor softened as he began to ask questions about X's journey, craving more than just surface-level answers. X spoke openly about his struggles, his doubts, and the moment he found peace through Jesus, a story raw and relatable, not rehearsed. The world only saw the public personas, but here, behind closed doors, two souls quietly wrestled with deeper truths. Kanye admitted that beneath his success, he'd felt a persistent emptiness that no amount of wealth could fill. This honest exchange peeled back layers, exposing wounds and fears both men carried silently for years. X's faith wasn't just a shield. It was a lifeline that gave him hope during dark times Kanye was only beginning to acknowledge. The conversation stretched late into the night, bridging gaps between doubt and belief, between celebrity and sincere faith. Kanye's tears were no longer just surprise. They were the first steps toward healing, sparked by a simple, heartfelt testimony. What started as a casual chat turned into a sacred moment, planting seeds that would grow far beyond that backstage room. Vulnerability can feel like weakness, but for Kanye and X, it became the key that unlocked a door long closed. Kanye confessed the pressures of his public life made it hard to show real emotion or admit spiritual struggles. X listened with compassion, sharing his own battles and how Jesus had become a refuge, a source of strength in chaos. In that moment, Kanye realized that faith wasn't about perfection, but embracing flaws and asking for help. Their conversation wasn't about religion. It was about relationship, real, messy, and deeply human. For Kanye, it was the first time in years he allowed himself to be truly seen without judgment. X's openness invited Kanye to step out of his armor and into a space of healing and hope. Tears flowed freely as Kanye acknowledged the loneliness fame had brought and the freedom found in vulnerability. This exchange shattered walls, revealing a shared longing for connection beyond applause and headlines. The power of vulnerability transformed two lives that night, setting the stage for a journey neither expected but both needed. As the night deepened, Kanye's questions grew more personal, challenging his own long-held beliefs about God and purpose. X answered with humility, describing how his faith was a daily choice to trust beyond what he could see. The Bible between them wasn't just a book. It became a symbol of hope and a source of answers for Kanye. Kanye's skepticism met patient honesty as X gently shared stories of grace that defied logic but brought peace. For the first time, Kanye considered that God's love wasn't conditional, but a gift waiting for him to accept. The conversation wasn't easy. It challenged Kanye's pride and invited him into a new way of thinking. Yet, beneath the challenge was comfort, a promise that he didn't have to carry his burdens alone. The night turned into a spiritual awakening, a moment where Kanye's heart began to soften toward faith. X's testimony became a mirror reflecting Kanye's own hunger for meaning beyond worldly success. By dawn, both men knew something profound had shifted, their lives forever marked by this honest dialogue. Tears don't always come from sorrow. They often signal the beginning of healing and surrender, as Kanye experienced that unforgettable night. Each tear Kanye shed was a release of years of hidden pain and unanswered questions about his faith journey. X's words had stirred something deep inside, breaking through walls Kanye hadn't realized were holding him captive. Those tears were a silent prayer, a heartfelt surrender to a God Kanye was slowly beginning to trust. The vulnerability of crying publicly wasn't weakness, it was strength, a sign of a heart opening to grace. For Kanye, tears spoke what words couldn't express, a longing for peace that fame never fulfilled. X's presence was a gentle reminder that none of us are alone in our struggles or doubts. The tears marked a powerful turning point, a moment of truth where Kanye's faith began to take root. This emotional breakthrough promised a new chapter, where hope and healing could finally take hold. In the stillness of that night, tears became the language of transformation, echoing louder than any spoken word. Behind every public moment is a private battle, the crushing weight of legacy pressing down on X's shoulders, blurring his own path. Growing up as Elon Musk's son meant expectations piled high, leaving little room for mistakes or authentic self-expression. X wrestled with the conflict between family reputation and his personal spiritual journey, often feeling torn. In two directions, the spotlight magnified every step, making faith a secret refuge and a silent rebellion against worldly success. X shared how this pressure often isolated him, yet his faith gave him the courage to keep moving forward. The struggle wasn't just external. It was a daily war inside his heart between approval and authentic peace. Through honest confession, X revealed that faith isn't an escape from reality, but the strength to face it. Kanye listened deeply, recognizing his own battles mirrored in X's silent fight for identity and meaning. This conversation uncovered the invisible chains that fame and legacy can create, and the freedom faith can bring. Together, they found hope in the idea that true legacy isn't inherited, but chosen by how we live and love, even in the darkest moments. X found light, small glimmers of hope that grew stronger through his relationship with Jesus. He spoke about nights filled with doubt and despair, when fame felt hollow and the future uncertain. But in those dark places, faith became a quiet whisper, a guiding hand leading him toward peace. X shared how prayer and scripture offered a lifeline, breaking through fear with promise and purpose. This light wasn't always bright or dramatic. Often, it was steady, subtle, but deeply sustaining. Kanye resonated with this struggle, realizing that his own darkness had been waiting for the same illumination. The conversation became a beacon, showing how even the most broken can find healing and hope. X's story reminded Kanye that no darkness is too deep for grace to reach. The shared faith planted seeds of courage to face life's uncertainties, with trust, not fear. They understood that faith's light doesn't erase struggle, it transforms it into strength and resilience. Fame offers many illusions, but it can never satisfy the deep hunger for true identity and purpose. X opened up about the emptiness fame left behind, a void that only faith could begin to fill. He described how public approval felt like sand, slipping away no matter how tightly he held on. Kanye connected instantly, knowing firsthand how the applause fades but the questions linger. Together, they explored the idea that identity isn't found in status but rooted in something far deeper. For X, Jesus became the anchor that kept him grounded amidst constant chaos and expectation. This realization brought freedom from the exhausting chase for validation and perfection. Faith offered a new lens, seeing oneself as beloved and enough, not defined by worldly success. The conversation challenged Kanye to reconsider where he placed his own sense of worth and belonging. In their exchange, the true source of identity emerged, inviting both men to embrace a new, liberating truth. Sometimes, the deepest conversations happen in silence, when words fall short and hearts speak directly to God. X revealed how silent prayers became his refuge during moments when faith felt fragile or distant. Those quiet moments weren't empty. They were filled with longing, trust, and a steady surrender to God's timing. Kanye shared his own experiences of silent desperation, searching for answers without knowing how to ask. They realized that faith isn't about constant declarations, but about a persistent, humble presence before God. Silent prayers became acts of courage, a way to hold on to hope even in uncertainty. X's journey showed Kanye that sometimes strength comes not from knowing, but from simply trusting. These quiet moments were the foundation for transformation, unseen but deeply felt. Both men acknowledged the power of silent prayer to renew the spirit when words fail. Their shared silence became a sacred space where faith grew beyond what could be spoken or understood. Every journey begins with a single step, and for Kanye and X, that night marked the start of a new spiritual path. X spoke about embracing uncertainty, choosing faith over fear despite not having all the answers. Kanye felt the weight of old habits lifting as he stepped into this new, unfamiliar territory. The road ahead was uncertain, but both understood that growth requires trust beyond immediate comfort. Their conversation ignited a spark, a call to move forward with courage and hope. X reflected on how faith is a journey, not a destination, inviting continuous learning and surrender. Kanye recognized that embracing a new path meant releasing control and embracing God's plan. Together, they committed to walking this journey honestly, with grace for their flaws and doubts. This chapter closed with anticipation, a sense of promise and transformation waiting just beyond the horizon. The journey had begun, marked not by perfection but by the brave decision to follow a higher calling. The hardest truth to face is the one hidden deep within, the fears and doubts that no one else can see. X admitted how fame masked his struggles, but faith forced him to confront his own brokenness honestly. This confrontation was painful but necessary, a stripping away of pride to reveal his true need for grace. Kanye saw in X's vulnerability a mirror of his own hidden battles, silent but raging. The burden of truth wasn't a weakness. It was the first step toward real freedom and healing. They discussed how acknowledging pain allows God's light to enter and begin transformation. X's testimony revealed that faith doesn't promise a life without struggle, but a presence through it. Kanye's tears showed the power of shared brokenness to break down walls of isolation. Together, they found hope in the promise that no demon is too fierce for God's mercy. This chapter closed with the understanding that facing inner demons is the gateway to authentic grace. Forgiveness is more than a word. It's a battlefield where past hurts meet present grace. X opened up about wounds inflicted by family and fame, wounds he struggled to forgive, even himself. He shared how forgiveness became a lifeline, releasing the heavy chains that bound his heart. Kanye nodded, understanding that forgiving others, and oneself is the hardest, yet most freeing act. Together, they explored how grace doesn't ignore pain, but transforms it through mercy and release. Forgiveness brought peace where bitterness once lived, unlocking doors to deeper joy and healing. X confessed that this process is ongoing, a daily choice to let go and trust God's justice. Kanye realized forgiveness isn't about forgetting, but about choosing love over resentment every day. Their story revealed the redemptive power forgiveness holds, inviting both to new beginnings. This chapter ended with a prayer for strength, to forgive and receive grace fully. Living in the public eye while nurturing private faith is a delicate, often lonely balance. X discussed the tension between worldly success and spiritual devotion, a battle waged behind closed doors. He revealed how distractions often drown out the still, small voice calling him back to truth. Kanye related deeply, jesting how noise and expectations had clouded his connection with God. Together, they sought wisdom for anchoring faith amid chaos, holding fast to what truly matters. They spoke about daily practices that nurture peace, prayer, solitude, and intentionality amid noise. X encouraged embracing imperfection and grace, not perfection or performance, as the foundation of faith. Kanye saw this balance as a revolutionary act, a reclaiming of identity beyond celebrity. Their exchange highlighted how faith and fame can coexist, but only when faith leads the way. This chapter closed with hope that amidst the noise, souls can find refuge and purpose. Sometimes, God shows up in the most unexpected people and places when we least expect it. X shared a powerful story about meeting someone who unknowingly became a spiritual mentor. This friendship challenged assumptions and opened new doors to understanding Jesus' love and grace. Kanye reflected on his own surprising encounters that shifted his heart and perspective profoundly. The conversation became a reminder that God's work often moves quietly through relationships. They explored how openness to others can become a path to deeper faith and healing. X's testimony showed that no one is too lost or too broken to be touched by grace. Kanye's journey affirmed that God's timing is perfect, bringing the right people at the right moment. Their stories intertwined, revealing the beautiful unpredictability of faith's unfolding story. This chapter ended with gratitude for unexpected friendships that reflect Christ's love. Faith isn't just about survival. It's about embracing a greater purpose that transforms everything. X shared how his journey led him to a new vision rooted in God's calling, not fame's demands. This vision brought clarity, peace, and a deep sense of destiny beyond worldly achievement. Kanye listened, inspired to seek his own purpose aligned with God's heart and grace. They discussed how purpose requires surrender, trust, and courage to walk unknown paths. X revealed that faith brought him freedom to dream beyond limitations imposed by family and fame. Kanye saw this as a radical hope, one that reshapes identity and rewrites future stories. Their exchange celebrated the beauty of God's plans, unfolding through imperfect lives. They prayed for strength to pursue purpose with faith as their compass. This chapter closed with anticipation for the journey ahead, bold, hopeful, and divinely guided. Sometimes, the deepest faith is forged in the fiercest fires, when life's trials test every ounce of hope. X revealed how challenges pushed him to rely not on himself, but on God's sustaining power. Kanye saw his own struggles mirrored, moments when only faith kept him from falling apart. These trials were not punishments, but refining moments shaping character and spiritual maturity. They reflected on Scripture's promise that God uses fire to purify, not destroy. X's story encouraged embracing hardships as tools for growth, not signs of abandonment. Kanye realized that faith's strength is proven in storms, when surrender becomes survival. Their conversation honored the painful yet transformative journey through suffering's crucible. They prayed for courage to endure and wisdom to see God's hand at work. This chapter closed with renewed resolve to walk through fire, knowing grace awaits beyond. Grace is the unearned gift that breaks every chain and mends every broken soul. X shared how experiencing grace transformed his heart from cynicism to hopefulness. Kanye's tears came again, moved by the unstoppable power of God's mercy in their lives. They spoke about grace as both a shield and a sword, defending and empowering the weak. Grace became their anchor when past failures threatened to drag them under. This gift reminded them that God's love is relentless, never giving up on us. X testified that grace led him to forgive, heal, and step into his calling. Kanye embraced grace as a new identity marker, not defined by past mistakes. Together, they celebrated the radical freedom found in accepting God's undeserved favor. This chapter closed with a call to extend grace to others as freely as it was received. Prayer is the lifeline that connects our broken hearts to an unbreakable God. X described how prayer shifted his perspective, turning despair into hopeful expectancy. Kanye admitted how prayer became his refuge, a daily reset amid chaos and confusion. They discussed prayer's power to align human will with God's perfect plan. Prayer opened doors they thought permanently closed, revealing miracles in waiting. X encouraged embracing honest, raw prayers, even when words fail or doubts creep in. Kanye found comfort in knowing God listens not just to words, but to hearts. Their stories intertwined with the unshakable belief that prayer changes lives and circumstances. They prayed together, their voices rising in unity and faith. This chapter closed with an invitation to lean into prayer, the divine conversation that never ends. Faith is a legacy, passed down through generations, shaping futures beyond what eyes can see. X reflected on the responsibility to leave behind more than fame, leaving hope and truth. Kanye dreamed aloud of influencing lives long after the spotlight dims. They discussed how legacy is less about fame and more about faithfulness to God's calling. Their stories became testimonies, seeds planted for generations hungry for grace. X emphasized that true legacy honors God by living with purpose and humility. Kanye saw legacy as a mantle, a sacred trust to uplift and inspire. Together, they envisioned a future where their faith stories become beacons of light. They prayed for strength to walk worthy paths that future generations could follow. This chapter closed with hope that their legacy would echo in hearts for eternity. The journey of faith never truly ends. It's a daily step forward, fueled by hope. X and Kanye embraced that their stories were still unfolding, each moment a new chapter. They acknowledged setbacks but celebrated progress, trusting God's timing over their own. The road ahead is unknown, but filled with promise and divine purpose. Their conversation echoed the truth that hope keeps the weary moving forward. X committed to walking boldly, even when the path seemed unclear or difficult. Kanye found peace in surrender, letting go of control to follow God's lead. Together, they encouraged listeners to trust the journey, no matter how winding or long. They closed with prayer, asking for grace, courage, and joy in every step. This chapter and story ended with the powerful reminder: faith is a journey of hope, always. What did you think of this powerful story of faith, vulnerability, and transformation between X and Kanye? How has it inspired you to reflect on your own journey? And where are you watching this video from? Drop your thoughts and location in the comments below. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories that uplift and encourage. Your support helps us continue sharing messages of hope and faith.